I know it's the first day back from spring break, and it's the first day of spring later today, the March equinox. It does not feel like it, that's for sure. But thank you for braving this cold morning. Who had to scrape their windshield? Yeah, not really loving that. But welcome to Franklin Tomorrow's March Frank Talks. I'm Mindy Tate, CEO of Franklin Tomorrow, and I want to welcome you today to People to Know. And I love that we're sitting at round tables because I hope you met somebody that you needed to know today. I know Tevis did, and Amy, they met some people. And Janet's here from the Urban League. Hi, Janet. So glad that you met some people, hopefully, this morning that you didn't know prior to the start today because we forced you to sit at a round table. So that's always good, too. But welcome this morning and to People to Know. So did you know, now, I'm not Nancy Conway. Nancy had an accident a couple weeks ago and is recovering. And if you would love to send her a card or something, just let me know. I can give you her address. Or if you know her personally and want to give her a call on the phone, she would really enjoy that. She is recovering at home now. And just please also send her prayers for healing and getting better. And we miss her on our board, and we miss her, did you know? She did call me on Friday and tell me what to do, and that was not it. So if you tell her that I didn't do what she told me to do, I'll probably be in serious trouble, but that's okay. I've been in trouble with Nancy before. So, but did you know it will be back hopefully next month, and we really hope Nancy continues to heal. She's an active member of our board of directors and a number of other organizations. So please stay in touch about Nancy's illness. So Frank Talks is presented, as you know, by Renaissance Bank and our sustaining partners, Atmos Energy and Williamson Health. Atmos is a great part of our community, and your gas bill probably went up this morning if you have gas heat because it's pretty cold out there. But Williamson Health is also a great part of our community. And I'm going to ask Greg Broy to come up and tell us a little bit about this video before we get started. Emily, do you play it?
Thank you, Mindy. Williamson Health is proud to be here on behalf of the 2,000 employees of our system. We have more than 30 locations across Williamson County to help you and your family. I'd like to also introduce Lindsay Sullivan with Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. Lindsay, we've got a new location opening up in West Franklin today.
Today, so our rehab services, our physical therapy department expanded, so we're open in West Franklin, kind of where Walgreens is on the corner of Downs and New Highway 96. So if anybody knows where Chopsticks is, that's kind of been my landmark. If you know where Chopsticks is, you know where our clinic is. So we're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I have a fabulous physical therapist out there, and he's accepting new patients.
In addition to that, we've got a little video to show. Dr. Jacqueline Gentry is accepting patients. For those of you that trekked over from Nolensville, let's introduce Dr. Gentry.
I had a biology teacher in 10th grade ask me what I wanted to do with my life, and I told her I wanted to be a teacher, and I expected her to be really thrilled about that, and she was, but she said, "You have a scientific mind. Have you thought about a career in medicine, and did you know that being a doctor is being a teacher?" The most rewarding thing for me is when somebody leaves my office and they feel empowered and motivated because they have the right tools. And I love that primary care focuses on wellness and chronic care management. And I so strongly believe in the mind-body-spirit connection and the power of lifestyle medicine and traditional medicine. I knew right away that I loved Williamson Medical Center. I could see from my first meeting that they treat staff and patients like family, and they really put people first. And I'm so excited that I get to live and work in Nolensville and be a true community doctor. I love traveling, both for fun and for medical missions. I've done medical missions in the US, Haiti, India, and Africa, and we did healthcare exams for the kids, for the staff, and most importantly, we just loved on the kids. When I'm not traveling and I'm home, I love playing with my dogs, being an amateur foodie, and exploring nature. Murphy is a joy. He is my therapy dog. He loves people, he's a sensitive soul, he gives hugs, and he cannot have a ball thrown for him enough times.
That was a corgi and the other dog, I think, a brindle. So that was lovely to see. I love corgis. So thanks so much. And now I'm going to ask Harrison Crabtree to come up and talk a little bit about Renaissance Bank before they make us laugh this morning. Okay.
Thanks, Mindy. We at just Renaissance Bank have been around for 119 years, and we're solid. We are a solid bank. As y'all know, there's a couple of banks that went south this past week, so we've been constantly on our phone. Those banks are totally mismanaged, and most of us around this county and the United States are very, very strong. Most of the banks here are very, very strong. So there's really nothing to worry about. We've been around for 119 years, well capitalized, great earnings, as well as Pinnacle, as well as First Bank, as well as all of the other local banks are very, very strong. So the news you hear, you please come and see us, and we'll be glad to help you. Thanks, Mindy.
Okay, that's nice to hear on a Monday morning when you've just gotten back from spring break, I think, too. But thank you so much, Harrison. And then, they always share some funny videos with us, so things Southerners say at the doctor's office.
She's gonna tell me to go on a diet, I know it. We're supposed to have fried turkey on Thanksgiving and divinity at Christmas and deviled eggs on Easter. What is she trying to do, kill me?
May cause dizziness, heartburn, diarrhea, or nausea. Y'all sure these are side effects? Because they sound like a normal trip to Crystal's.
You think it's crowded in here now? Wait until spring allergy season. There's gonna be more sniffles in here than a screening of steel magnolias.
I always have to remind the nurse to, adjust the weight to account for clothes and shoes. Everyone knows it adds like 30 pounds. 40 if you're wearing boots.
I thought I had IBS, but it turns out spastic colon is just another symptom of 2020.
You and me cut back on my sugar before or after I leave this office, because you and I both know that there's a big old bowl of candy sitting there by reception. And if I gotta go to Walgreens, come on, that's basically the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory right now.
I know I've got high blood pressure, but you try watching Auburn football 4 hours a week. I might not make it through this season.
They say the gut is like your second brain, which is making sense because mine is telling me that I need to go take advantage of Sonic's slushy happy hour later today.
Oh, you get that restless leg syndrome? Listen, you don't need a prescription for that. Just get you a bar of Ivory soap, stick it in the bed sheets at night. Works like a charm.
In this family history section, do you think they just want what my mama's officially been diagnosed with or what she thinks she has? Because that's everything on this list.
Yeah, I finally decided to make an appointment. My back has been hurting since I played piggyback with my baby niece. She's 10 now. I'm still the cool aunt.
Oh, do I really have to turn my cell phone off in here? Because I don't even get a signal anywhere around here. Only place in town I can get a signal is up on that hill by the Dollar General. And I gotta stand on one leg and put my hand in the air like the Statue of Liberty.
The doctor told me to have a variety of foods so that I have more energy, so now I have coffee and Red Bull in the morning.
There's a prescription for everything these days, but I refuse to take sleeping pills. Like, why would I deal with the side effects of Ambien when I got a pawpaw that loves to tell stories? It's the same one every time.
A lot of insurance company commercials at the beginning of the pandemic talked about how we're all in this together. But where were they when I got a $300 bill for one blood test to check my thyroid in 2018?
Just a heads up, when you get back there, they're gonna ask if you smoke or drink. It's not an offer.
It's probably just an ingrown hair. I'm just checking to be safe.
Could you skip this line? Because I already know what I got. I checked on WebMD and it's polio.
Doctor just gave me a list of healthy foods. Mac and cheese isn't on here. You know it's a vegetable, it's on the Cracker Barrel menu.
I was feeling really bad this morning, but now that I'm at the doctor's office, I kind of feel fine. I think I'm a phony. I'm gonna go.
Brought to you by Renaissance Bank. Open your account online at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
So we can't say enough. If you enjoyed the coffee this morning, thanks to Lion Leadership Group for sure. We appreciate them. And we're going to get started on our program now. So people to know, Franklin and Williamson County are growing pretty rapidly. So there's always someone to meet, I would say, always someone new to learn their story. And this is a little bit more than these people will tell you what they do for a living and who they are, but we're also going to try to get to know them a little bit better. So we want to hear about your family, and we want to know your hobbies as well. But we're going to start by hearing from Christopher Swafford. Christopher is the COO of Blood Assurance. And Blood Assurance is, I'm going to let him tell you that. That would be silly for me to tell you what that is. But we'll let Christopher come up and do his program, and you can do it either from there or you can come up to the podium. And here's the...
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me a few minutes here. So I am Christopher Swafford. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Blood Assurance. Blood Assurance is the sole provider of blood and blood products to Williamson Health. We actually have had a great relationship with the Bone and Joint Institute as well, in the fact that they helped us do blood drives when we first moved to Franklin and started to build out our donor center, which is over on Fraser Avenue, next to the Hogwood Barbecue and the busiest Smoothie King I've ever seen in my life. So we definitely want to make sure that I've got a shot here at the end that shows our QR code where you'll be able to go and make an appointment. But Blood Assurance is the conduit through which the community supports patients in our local hospitals. We moved here my family and I moved here in March of 2020 to help build up our operations in Middle Tennessee. But my background is came from the operations management side of the hospital. It's funny, Jacqueline in that first video, she had a very good teacher who helped inspire her to go into to being a physician. I wanted to be a physician when I was in college, and I had a very, very wise organic chemistry 2 professor help me see that there were other opportunities in healthcare besides being a physician. Maybe I should go into operations and administration, and that's the path that I went on. But my family and I do live here. We live over in the Grassland area. My daughters go to Grassland Middle School, and we've loved being here. My family's named this Friendly Franklin, is what they called it, but we moved here from the Chattanooga area, so from East Tennessee. That's where Blood Assurance is headquartered. We've been in business for 50 years, and we're a community-based blood supplier. We actually serve 80 hospitals in 5 states. We go as far south as Cartersville, Georgia, and as far north as Bowling Green, Kentucky. But again, our mission is to provide a safe and adequate blood supply to all the patients in need within the areas that we serve. How many of you have ever donated blood? Raise your hand. That is fantastic. We know that there are a lot of folks who either don't donate blood because they're not eligible, they're not healthy enough, they're not able to, but a lot of times they've just said, no one's ever asked me to donate blood. So if nothing else, here this morning, I would ask you to go and make an appointment to donate blood or to help host a blood drive with your local church, with your organization, whoever it is that you can be connected with other people, because ultimately it's not the goal of Blood Assurance to collect the blood and keep it on our shelf. We want to get it out to the hospitals and patients in need as soon as possible. One of the first people I met when I came to Franklin was Chris Henson, who's here. He's actually on our board at Blood Assurance and has been incredibly proactive and instrumental in helping us become a part of this community. He's who introduced me to Mindy and made all this possible this morning. So thank you very much to them. And again, to all the support that Williamson Health and others here in the community have already provided us as we've grown. As of 2023, as it says, we've got 15 fixed sites, and again, that's down in Georgia up through Clarksville, Tennessee. And we have 19 blood mobiles that are out and about on the streets going to hospitals, businesses, schools, different locations so that we can collect blood. We need to be able to collect from about 500 donors a day to meet the blood, platelet, and plasma needs of the community. And it's something that, can't be done by any other way than people voluntarily coming out and donating, taking that time to come and do that, and becoming a regular donor. We are part of the American Association of Blood Banks. We're part of the Blood Centers of America, America's Blood Centers, a lot of different industry groups. But again, the more important thing to us is we're part of the communities that we serve. And that's why we look to put down brick and mortar and hire from the communities that we work in. We want to make sure that we're there to be a good community partner. So just a little bit about kind of how it works. So blood's collected at a fixed site or on a mobile. We send that then to Chattanooga to be processed in our lab, manufactured, and then we get it out to the hospitals as quickly as possible so that, again, the patients that are going through oncology treatment, traumas, sickle cell disease, hemophilia, you name it. There are many, many different reasons why people need transfusions, and there is no synthetic substitute for blood. So it's something that has to be given from healthy donors to be able to help serve patients. So as you can see, why we do what we do, every 2 seconds a patient in the U.S. needs a blood transfusion. And that's not unique to Middle Tennessee. We know that there are needs across the country, that there are times where we're able to not only help those here directly in Middle Tennessee, but those outside of the blood assurance footprint. And it's a national response that we help put together to help treat patients across the country. So ways that you can get involved, host a blood drive, donate blood. We are every day we are looking to educate and motivate people to come out and donate. And it's something that only takes about 45 minutes. For a whole blood donation. A lot of people say they're scared of the needle, but I will tell you that, only about 5 to 10% of the population donate blood who are eligible, but about 99% of the population will take that transfusion when it's needed. So there is a huge need out there, especially for type O blood, for platelets, and part of our job is to educate you all as volunteer donors how best you can donate, so that there's never a chance that we don't want to expire anyone's donation. We don't want anything to happen in a way that wouldn't maximize your gift. So blood is only on the shelf for 42 days, but you can only donate every 56 days. So right there, that we're always looking to bring new donors in. Platelets only have a 5-day shelf life, so even more critical. But the good news is, again, that you all have the opportunity to go over on Fraser Avenue and donate, and we want to make sure that you guys have that opportunity to do that or to set up a blood drive. One other thing I just want to mention is high school drives. We partner with high schools. Right now, currently here in Williamson County, only Page High School is donating with us. Again, we have the opportunity to go and do some scholarships and help fund some initiatives in those schools to help encourage kids to come out and donate with us. There's a huge decline in the number of younger donors across this country. Unfortunately or fortunately, the median demographic for those that are out donating is in their late 50s to early 60s. The folks who are going to be coming behind those folks to replace them as donors are anyone from 16 to 30 years old, and we have to really work hard to educate and motivate those donors to come out. This is our QR code. If you take a shot of that, that will take you to the link to be able to either schedule a donation or get more information about doing a blood drive with Blood Assurance. And again, that's really what my goal here is, to encourage you all to, again, go out and donate with either Blood Assurance or another local blood provider that's in your community, because the need is always out there.
I'm going to ask Christopher a question, and he sort of touched on it there at the very end. How do you work with what most people, when they think of blood donation, they do think of the Red Cross, but you are working in our community and serving our community. But how do you work together? How do you work together?
Yeah. So I will tell you that there is no substitute for what the Red Cross does in disaster relief. Blood Assurance is not going to show up at your house with blankets and warm clothes if your house burns down. The difference in there's a different department of the Red Cross, which is the pharmaceutical piece of it, and that's where they collect their blood. They're the main supplier of the St. Thomas hospitals and Vanderbilt. We supply them as a secondary supplier. Again, we're always looking for where there's a need, and we will supplement that. But they do not supply any products to Williamson Health. They don't supply any products to Maury Regional Medical Center. So it's for us. We want to be able to make sure that we're only collecting in those areas that we serve. And Middle Tennessee is a great area for some collaboration between the two of us in terms of working together to build up those blood donations. So really, it's more of a support function that we will do for the Red Cross in those hospitals that they serve as the primary supplier.
Okay, and I got one more question for him, and we'll take some questions at the end. But so you sent me an email, and it was really early this morning. Now, what time do you get up, and what do you have a group you work out with? Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. So, does anyone other than Mr. Henson know what F3 is? Okay, so some of you all know what that is. So it's the F3 group is a men's leadership group. It's called F3 Franklin, but it's across the country. And it is a workout group. We get up pretty early in the morning, usually 4:30 or 4:45. We go out and do a workout. It's rain or shine, but it's also a leadership group beyond a fitness group. We work to do community service projects within the community, and it's something. If you go to f3franklin.com, I believe is the website you'll want to go to. It's again, a good opportunity for men to get together, a little accountability, a little bit of an opportunity to have some camaraderie. You get your workout done before probably folks get up and head out to school, so that means that you've got a great opportunity to be able to help get them out the door and to do what you need to do in the evening to support your family. So,
Hang on one second. I'm going to go back here and have this question. So.
Hello. Thank you for taking my question. My
Yes, ma'am.
first one is, do you have a program where you can donate your own blood if you're having a medical procedure?
they do, yep. And so it's called a directed, or I'm sorry, that's an autologous. Yes, they do. So what you'll do is you'll actually have your physician will write a prescription to say that you need to have a unit collected, and then we will ship that directly to the hospital or wherever you're having that procedure done.
Wonderful. Thank
ma'am.
you. And this one's a little more controversial. Do you have a program where you can get blood from your company that is free of RNMA or MO? What is it called with COVID?
Oh, so there are some
I
programs.
think I didn't say that correctly. So MNRA, the code that's in the vaccine?
Yeah, so right now we don't screen that out, and I know that there are some states that are looking to have some laws that are that want to have separate blood supplies in terms of COVID vaccinated versus non-COVID vaccinated. We don't have that currently. I don't know how far that will go, just for the fact that it's pretty hard to get people to come out and donate, and just in general, much less be able to segregate out those who've been vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. So right now, we don't have that.
And I think that might be the opposite way you may want to look at that, because people don't want to donate because they don't want, they don't want their blood to be put into a system that already has that. So you might be surprised at how many more people might donate if you had a program like that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Chris?
Can you just speak a little bit about some of the research that Dr. Liz is doing and some of the initiatives that y'all are taking on?
Yeah, and so we actually, as a part of Blood Assurance, we have a cellular therapy program as well, and we have opportunities for folks to come and donate and be able to take part in some research kinds of studies. We work very closely with the healthcare community and looking for new ways to provide services to patients. There's a lot of things that are being done in terms of oncology treatments, sickle cell treatments that are genetically modified cells to help treat these kinds of diseases. So we've got a whole new part of our organization called Our Cell Solutions, which is really getting deep into cellular therapy and looking at different ways that we can support research studies in the country.
Thank you so much, Christopher, and we'll have some time maybe at the end for people to meet you and have a one-on-one conversation. But I'm going to turn it over and ask Tyra Sturgis, the Chief Engagement Officer for the Heritage Foundation of Williams County, to take the podium, and the clicker is...
Morning. All righty. Make sure this thing. All right. Well, my name is Tyra Sturgis, if you've seen, and my job title is Chief Engagement Officer for the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County. Now, when Mindy reached out, she gave me an assignment. She said, I want you to come and I want you to talk a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your job role, and a little bit about your organization. We want to know about you. So I'm thinking, okay, Mindy, I think I understand the assignment. And so to complete this assignment, I decided to bring my own personal piece of preservation. This right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my third grade journal. Yes. So to complete the assignment, I'm going to share a few reflections from my journal and what I picked up on my first 30 days on the job. And that front row, second from the left, is me, Tyra Sturgis, third grade in Linda Fluker's class. I'm from Thompson, Georgia, a small town of about 5,000 people, about 20 miles west of Augusta. If you're familiar with the Masters, you probably passed Thompson on the way to Augusta National. So it's what our town revolves around. My mom taught school for 36 years. My brother's a principal, my sister's an assistant principal, so education kind of runs in the family. So when I found my journal in 2008 in my parents' home, I reached out to my third grade teacher, Miss Fluker, and I emailed her. And I asked her a question. I said, Miss Fluker, what was I like in third grade? And she said, I remember you being enthusiastic, talkative, positive, and friendly. And I'm still that today. I'm enthusiastic about learning, about sharing, a little talkative when engaged and I'm comfortable, positive in that I try to see the best in people, and friendly and think I can work with anyone. Now, she also added down the line, you were a very intelligent third grader, and I felt you would do great things. Well, thanks, Mrs. Fluker, but I'm a little concerned about how she came to that conclusion when you look at some of my journal entries. Let's take a look at this one. I think school, we have too much work. We do math and reading for an hour. We have recess for 15 minutes. I think PE should be at least 45 minutes. School cheats on the subjects we really like. Sometimes I like school and sometimes I don't. Now, I probably got fussed at because this was so sloppy, but the sentiment kind of continued. Cursive writing. Yeah, but you know what? Cursive or not, I think school is stupid. Why do we have to come here? School is stupid. And it gets worse. School is not fun. I wish we didn't have to go to school. It got so bad that she commented back in my journal, I wish you didn't feel this way. Now recall, my mom taught second grade at the same school as Mrs. Fluker. I was an adult when I figured out, wait a minute, maybe she's telling my mom what I'm writing in my journal. But I got a little wise through it. As you can see, beginning of '86, I like school. It is fun. Well, at least some of it. But through my life, I did develop a love for education. In fact, I went on to get 3 degrees, marketing from Alabama State University, Master in Advertising and PR from University of Alabama. Can I get a roll tide? There we go. And a law degree from Cumberland School of Law at Samford. So I developed a love for education and for advocacy, which happens to align really well with the core functionalities of the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County: preservation, education, and advocacy, protecting the buildings and sites and stories that give Williamson County its character and make it so special. But that's not it. When I got lazy sometimes in my journal, I'd draw a picture and label it. Thought I was outsmarting the teacher. I used to ride freestyle bikes back in '86, and it was really interesting that each component of the bike could help you do tricks better. You want the best mags, you want the best tires, the best foot pegs. But it was important to know how all of these things fit together, how all of the pieces come together. And part of my job is to help those pieces come together now. The foundation is a little more robust than you may have remembered. Now there are 4 distinct divisions and brands: Downtown Franklin Association, Franklin Theater, Franklin Groveland Estates, and the History and Culture Center, which opens later this year. My job is to provide marketing and communication support across the foundation and direct oversight of the Downtown Franklin Association and the 3 festivals, Main Street Pumpkin Fest and Dickens of a Christmas. There are great teams at the foundation who handle the day-to-day operation of these things, and my charge is to lead them and to make these festivals, make these events even more impactful, and share what's so special about Williamson County with more and more people. Now, I like sports, and I played baseball when I was in 3rd grade. And you can see here, yesterday I had baseball practice. I did good. I want to play first. Coach said that I'm pretty good at first base. I can hit very well, so I don't have anything, not anything, to worry about. But here's the key line. We have some good players, but some are not so good. Even as a 3rd grader, I was able to realize that there were strong members of the team and some were not so strong. But the fact is, we all had to work together. When I look at the work and some of the accomplishments of the Heritage Foundation, it's clear that it's not just a staff that gets this done. The team consists of the community. Part of my job is to tell those stories that encourage the team members, community partners, members, sponsors who are helping this work become a reality. And for those not so good team members to say, hey, the work you're doing is valuable. The work you're doing makes this county, this downtown, so special. In 56 years, the foundation has had 134 plus buildings on the National Register. The festivals bring over 300,000 visitors a year, and we're educating students on the preservation and advocacy. This is important work. So if you're already a team member, thank you. And if you're not a team member, get in the game. You're part of the team. Preservation is very important. How a story is told is very important. Now, I think the actual date this happened was the 27th, so my day's off, but this is interesting. Yesterday, all I did was watch TV, and the space shuttle blew up. Now, most of you probably remember how big and how significant this was. Krista McAuliffe was on that flight, a school teacher. Everybody around the nation was watching when this thing happened. Now, this may not be the best preservation of that event, thank goodness, but it's there. And it's something that recalls memories in me. And it's something I can look back on, and it's something I can share with my son to say, let me tell you how this thing really was. Let me tell you how significant it was. But that's the beauty in preservation. We don't just have to tell how beautiful something was, but you can experience how great something is. I think one of the most interesting things to me when I started about 30 days ago was the history of the Franklin Theater. It's so cool to go and stand in front of it. It's a beautiful venue. It's wonderful to be inside. I was unaware of all the work that went into restoring this theater and the great acts that'll be there, like on April 7th. Preservation work and adaptive reuse work is important, and these stories need to be told, and I'm glad to be part of sharing those stories. Here's a glimpse at more work that the foundation is responsible for. So finally, I want to get to this slide. Yesterday, my daddy gave me $8. Now I can buy anything I want. Anything. Now, $8 doesn't go very far. It's not about the money here. It's about my relationship with my dad and what him giving me that $8 meant. My mom gave us money from time to time. It was nothing special. But for my dad, a factory worker, turned law enforcement officer, to take the time to actually give me money. It was significant enough for me to write about in my journal, to capture that memory. I lost him in 2020, but looking back on this reminds me of what's so great about it. But it also reminds me, as I look at my relationship with my 15-year-old son, and with my wife, the importance of giving. And my job isn't fundraising with the organization directly. We got Grant back there who can talk to you a little later. But giving is more than just a monetary donation. Giving is taking the time to share and to offer something of yourself that can have such a big benefit for someone else. And that's the part of the foundation's work that's beautiful to me. Because I don't think my dad thought twice about this $8 he gave me. But here it is, some 35 years later, and I'm still remembering. I'm still thinking about it. So what I do ask is that if you find a way to keep giving your time, keep giving your effort to support the foundation, to come to the festivals, to tell your friends about it, to invite people to experience what's so beautiful, welcoming, and warm about this community. So I'll leave you with that, and here's my contact information. And if you want to know a little bit more about my third grade journal about me, you can reach me here. I look forward to meeting everybody, to building the team, to working together, and that's that.
Thank you so much, Tyrus. I love that, and I wish Oliver Arney was here from the Boys and Girls Club, because I would love for him to be able to take this story and tell those children the impact. You can start very young with an impact. But I got Barry Beasley here, and she's the CEO of the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County, and she's known Tyrus probably the longest of anyone in this room, right? So tell us how y'all met, your first impression, and what excites you about having him here now as the Chief Engagement Officer.
Yes. Good to see everybody. Barry Beasley. I didn't know I was getting called on, but I'm excited to get to say a few words about Tyrus. Actually, Tyrus and I met, I think it was 2001. We were both graduate students together at the University of Alabama. We both received our master's degree in advertising and public relations. And during that year, it was a very intense year of graduate work. And I remember one day we were walking out of the communication building, and I said, you know, Tyrus, it'd be so great if we could work together one day. I would love for us to be able to maybe build a company or to do something together one day. And I never forgot that. And so all these years later, we had this opportunity. We were kind of restructuring some things, and we wanted to create an opportunity for someone to come in and be our Chief Officer of Engagement. And really, he'll be running a huge portfolio within the Heritage Foundation. And so it was my first thought, this is the opportunity, because Tyrus is exceptionally smart. He's an incredibly hard worker, and he's such a great person. And so it was just a joy to say, hey, is this going to align for where you are right now? And it did. His wife, his son are incredible, and I'm so glad they're a part of our community. He's going to do great things. Already the team loves him, and we're very excited about the journey ahead.
Thanks so much, Barry. Those are nice words to hear on a Monday morning, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to go back to the front. Thank you, Tyrus, and we'll get some questions at the end of the program if we have time. Okay, speaking of Alabama, this March Madness bracket I have here, I mean, I got two of them. Says one says Duke was going to win, and the other says Kansas was going to win. So, you know, these aren't worth very much right now. But I still have Tennessee and Alabama going one more game at least, so I hope. So we like to end and send you out on a happy note, and we'll take some time now to introduce and get to know Patrick Thomas and Rachel Potter. And I'm going to bring them up, or come on up, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their show, tell you a little bit about themselves. And I'm kind of fangirling on Rachel a little bit. Patrick knows I fangirl on him, but kind of fangirling on Rachel, because who knows where my favorite place on earth is? Disney. So Rachel's got a special connection, but I'm going to introduce Rachel Potter and Patrick Thomas, and they're going to talk about their Country Legends show.
Good morning, and thank you all so much for having us here at Frank Talks. Thank you, Christopher. Enjoyed the presentation. Tyrus teed it up delightfully well. Really appreciate the tee up there for April 7th. But my name is Patrick Thomas, and this glowing individual next to me is Miss Rachel Potter. We're here to talk to you about a show that we are doing at the historic Franklin Theater on April 7th. But before we get there, in the spirit of the Frank Talk series, we figured we would tell you a little bit about ourselves.
Well, I have been in Nashville since 2013. I moved here from New York City, where I was a performer on Broadway. And prior to that, I'll go back in time a little. I worked for Disney World for a really long time. Out of high school, I got my first college job as the Little Mermaid. And that's how I worked my way through college at UCF, getting my degree in advertising and public relations as well. And went on to play Belle, Nemo in the Finding Nemo musical, some High School Musical, for those of you that might even know what that is in the room. And I just had a blast. I consider it my boot camp for getting me ready for New York City. So I moved to New York City and waited tables for a while, bartended, pounded the pavement, as they say, and finally got very lucky to join the cast of Wicked on tour, where I played Glinda. Then went on to play Wednesday Addams in the Addams Family musical, and just a fun fact, Brooke Shields played my mom as Morticia, so that was pretty cool. And then went on to be the mistress in Evita with Ricky Martin. All this time, I always loved country music. Growing up, I just remember spending so much time with my 13-inch Emerson television watching CMT, just dreaming of a day that I can move from Florida to Nashville, Tennessee. And so I decided, no regrets, and here I am. I moved in 2013, and I went on to a television show called The X Factor. Not to be confused with Fear Factor, where they eat bugs. That was not me. So I placed in the top 12 on The X Factor, which is similar to an American Idol, and came here and started writing and recording music. I created a band called Steel Union, and we were working together for a long time until I started my family. And I had my first son, Jude, who's 6 now, then another little boy who was a COVID baby, Elliot, who's 2, and now we are welcoming Sophia in July. Yeah. Thank you. But all this time, Patrick and I, back in 2014, we started a show called Country Legends, and we started touring with symphonies all over the world, the country, from Alaska to Hawaii, as Patrick says. But we're going to get to that in a second, because I really want you to know a little about my amazing cohort and all of his incredible accolades.
Thanks, Rachel. So yeah, I feel like we'll kind of start right around the time we met. Like a lot of waiters and waitresses here in Nashville, came here with a dream and did that, pounded the pavement, as Rachel was talking about, and waited tables at the Brick Tops on West End Avenue when I moved here. And shortly after graduating from my alma mater, Vanderbilt University, just down the street from that Brick Tops, but was kind of a kid of two worlds. I grew up the son of 2 Broadway performers, but also had this really low voice and could, drove a truck and liked to wear boots. And so I said, you know what, maybe this country thing is going to be the right thing for me. So moved to Nashville, went to school at Vanderbilt. Shortly after, while I was waiting tables, I had met some folks at a local theater company called Studio 10. And I got involved in this wonderful series that they do called the Legacy Series, and got to be part of the Cash Legacy, the Hank Legacy, the Glenn Campbell Legacy, a bunch of these shows that paid tribute to these legendary country artists. And we got to do it on some incredible stages at the Schermerhorn, at the Ryman Auditorium. And it was through that connection with this theater company that was also paying homage to these country legends that I actually met Rachel Potter. I called in sick one day from Brick Tops, not really feeling the waiting tables that day, and called up my old friend Jake Speck and said, hey Jake, I know you are doing Les Mis right now, and it sounds like you have a pretty phenomenal cast. There's this, particularly this individual, she's pretty cute, she's pretty talented. Her name's Rachel Potter. I'd like to come see her perform. Any extra tickets? And Jake said, well, actually, yes. You can come on, and it's our closing night. And so lo and behold, I got to talk to Rachel that evening, went to the cast party, and thought that was that. Fast forward a few months, I am playing CMA Fest and had an opening as part of a round. I was signed with a publishing company at the time with a gentleman named Brett James, and he and I were playing CMA Fest, and I got to invite Rachel up. And so Rachel sang, and we had this wonderfully, we're half Broadway, half country. And 6 months later, you talked about being lucky, and it always seems that there is a little bit of that. I got very lucky when Rachel called me up and said, I'm doing this symphony show. How would you like to go play with symphony orchestras from Anchorage, Alaska to Hawaii, all over the country with me, and sing country legends? And that is what we did for the next 5 years. It was truly an incredible experience. And at this point now, we are at kind of a juncture where we've played a lot of the major symphonies across the country, and there's still a demand for this type of music. And so we decided, well, can we reimagine this show? Can we take out some of the songs we're tired of singing, Achy Breaky Heart? Can we add some of the songs that we never got to do, 90s music? And that's exactly what we've done. And so I'll let Rachel tell you a little bit about April 7th and why we're starting here at one of my favorite venues in town, the beautiful Franklin Theater, and how we are kind of using that as the launching pad, if you will, for our for the next step of Country Legends.
Yeah, we are so excited to join the ranks, at the Franklin Theater and bring our act that we've been working on for so many years and just building our rapport with each other. And our love for country music just has gotten deeper through the years as we've had an opportunity to go and perform this all over the country, as we've mentioned. But it's just so exciting to see people from all walks of life, from all cities, just come together with this shared love of this music that we have that's so near and dear to our hearts. So what better place to reintroduce our Country Legends show than such a historic and wonderful theater like Franklin Theater. So we've reimagined it, as Patrick said, and we've added some songs that we've always thought were missing. God bless him, the man that helped us to do the initial show. He was a Jew from California, so he didn't quite understand country music as well as we wanted him to. And he did an amazing job, but we decided that we wanted to just add our spin on that and just put the knowledge and the love that we had back into the show. So the second act I'm quite very excited about because it's going to touch on my favorite era of country music, which was 90s country. So we hope that you guys can come and join us. It's going to be sort of a history lesson, and that we'll talk about some of these songs and what made them so special, and these artists and these incredible icons that made country music great through the years. But then we'll also share some of our own personal stories, and it should be a really fun time.
Yes, can't wait. And again, have you played the Franklin Theater before?
No,
first time. Okay, because I know it's been my home a couple times for a few shows, both with Studio 10, but also I do a Christmas special every year, and one of my favorite memories ever is playing my Christmas special at the Franklin Theater. So can't say enough good things, but we obviously should tell you that there is a QR code up there if you have not already seen it. That is where you can scan with your camera to purchase some tickets. Again, it is a one-night only event. We're very excited for this. We've got a fantastic band. When we travel with this show, it sometimes can be hit or miss the players that you are playing with at the Quad Cities Symphony versus the Phoenix Symphony versus the San Jose Symphony. And here we know that we have the best of the best because we are in Williamson County, we are in Davidson County, and we have these incredible musicians, to join us on stage. Mm-hmm. So,
shall we sing?
We figured we would sing a little something for you, just a short bit, but this is about as legendary as it gets. Little Johnny and June. It goes like this. We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around. I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson Town.
Well, go on down to Jackson. Go ahead and wreck your health. Go play your hand, you big talking man, and make a big fool of yourself. Yeah, go to Jackson. Go comb your hair.
Baby, I'm gonna snowball Jackson.
Ha! See if I care.
And I breeze into that city. All them people gonna stoop and bow. All them women gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson. Turn loose my coat. Baby doll, I'm going to Jackson.
Goodbye, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, we got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. We're going to Jackson, and that's a fact. Yeah, we're going to Jackson, ain't ever coming back. Thank you very much. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much again for having us. This is a real joy to be here, and we hope that we'll see you on April 7th.
I may have some questions for y'all. So thanks so much. Now, I told you I fangirl a little bit on Rachel, but you have something, turn that mic on. You have something special going on at Disneyland right now, correct? Now,
I was asked to send in a little audition. During COVID, I got really into doing more voiceovers and recording things from my home, you know, as the world changed. And I got asked to send in a little audition for something at Disneyland, and I didn't really know what it was. And then I sent it in, and I didn't really hear anything about it. And then someone sent me, well, congratulations, the show opened last night. I was like, what are you talking about? Well, it's all over YouTube. Well, it turns out that I voiced the Blue Fairy in the brand new fireworks show at Disneyland celebrating, was it 100 years?
100 years.
So it was kind of a surprise to me, but it's really neat. And I've never been to Disneyland, and you haven't either, right?
No.
So we're going to have to go together and go watch the show. Yeah. So just like such an honor that I got to be a part of that. But it's on YouTube. It's a really beautiful show, and I actually have a few other friends that voiced other characters. But really, just such an honor. I'm a huge Disney geek as well, obviously.
So thank you so much to our panel. Thank them for being here this morning. We've got a few other things to cover, and I'm going to let you come have some time at the end to maybe ask them a few questions personally as well. But thank you, Tyra Sturgis, Christopher Swafford, Rachel Potter, and Patrick Thomas, and we appreciate getting to know you this morning a little bit. So thank you so much. So we hope you've enjoyed People to Know. We have the dip jar set up over here, and right now it's dedicated to donating to the Coach Jimmy Gentry and the Lost Heroes statue, which is going to be erected at the corner of 5th Avenue and Main Street there at 5 Points. The statue will feature Coach Gentry, who many of you knew through his community involvement. He was a teacher and coach here, but also a World War II veteran and hero. He will be seated on a bench looking towards his lost heroes, his friends who didn't come home at the Veterans Memorial. And Franklin tomorrow is working with a group of Leadership Franklin alumni to raise the money to install this statue. We are the fiduciary agent for them, and today you can make a donation if you want. We feel like we're getting there. We've got a little bit of space to go on the fundraising, but we wanted to give you an opportunity. And there's also a card with a QR code if you want to take it with you. The dip jar is set up for $50 donation, but we would be happy to take your donation of any amount to honor those veterans of World War II and being represented by Coach Jimmy Gentry here in our community. So that's a little bit. And if you don't have a historic Franklin license plate, we hope when you go to renew your car tags, you'll consider getting one. We are the only city in the state of Tennessee to have its own license plate. Those folks in Hendersonville are working on it, and now Murray County's trying to get one for Murray County. It's a lot of work, and we've got ours and need to maintain it, so we hope you'll consider doing that. There's the Coach Gentry. So you may see his face, and he may be a little more familiar to you there. And then here's what we have coming up. April 10th was Frank Talks City Hall on Wheels at Columbia State. And City Administrator Eric Stuckey and Michael Walters Young will be talking about the results of the recent National Citizen Survey that was conducted here in Franklin. And they've been doing that for several years. Then also we have Breakfast with the Mayors on April 25th, and we anticipate that will be a discussion on the Envision Franklin Land Use Plan update. I want to remind you that on Wednesday at 11 to 1, I think it is, and then 5 to 6:30 at Columbia State in the community room where we often have Frank Talks. There'll be a chance for you to go and participate in the Envision Franklin Land Use Update. It's a come and go type event, but you can give your input on what you want to see happen in Franklin's land use in the future. And so it's a very important meeting, and we hope that you'll participate in that as well. And then also, you know, Franklin Tomorrow participates in Mayor Ken Moore's Find Hope Franklin initiative, which is to focus on the mental health in our community and also reducing substance misuse. And Franklin Tomorrow is offering QPR classes, one on March 28th and one on April 12th. QPR is Question, Persuade, and Refer Suicide Prevention Training. The class takes about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the interaction in the meeting. And if you're interested in learning more about those, we'll be sending that out and posting it on our website for you to sign up. The class is free. But we also would love to hear from you and love to have you participate in that, because we all need to take care of our neighbors. We all need to think about how we can be prepared if someone is suffering a mental health crisis or is having a bad day. Sometimes just being there and being a neighbor and knowing the question to ask and knowing how to refer them is a very important first step in their mental health recovery. So we hope you'll be part of that with us. But those are our April dates. And always follow us on social media, because we're not only promoting what's going on with Franklin Tomorrow, we're promoting what's going on with other nonprofits and other activities in our community. And we want to make sure that you stay involved and engaged, because our mission is to engage the community, foster collaboration, and then advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. So thank you to Renaissance, thank you to Williamson Health and Atmos Energy, and we will see you in April, if not before. Thanks so much. Have a great day.